Welcome to Digital Asset News to get top stories in cryptocurrency digital assets and break them down to bite-sized pieces. Today, instead of doing the news, we know what's going on in the news. The news is nothing but fantastic. The market is up dramatically. I think we're around 39,000, 40,000, something like that for a Bitcoin. Alts are up. Looks like there might be a new alt season coming up, and that was why I did that video yesterday, which I talked about all my different holds in my portfolio, where I thought everything was going. It was a big price prediction, which everybody seems to love, except when I do it. Because when I do it, I give very conservative numbers. And I know people want me to really push things to the moon and tell me that, or tell them that, Bitcoin's going to be $1 million tomorrow, but I just can't do it. I think it's so stupid to predict. I did a video in my very early YouTube days. You can watch it. It's like one of my first ones I did, where I predicted XRP to like some enormous number, and obviously didn't come true. So these days, and it just makes sense to me just to do conservative things. But it's not what I'm here for today. Today, I'm here for another reason. What I want to talk to you about is because I think that we are on the precipice of what is about to happen as far as the crypto market to really explode. And what that means is that if you're here right now and you're watching, there's a pretty good chance that this might not be your first day of investing. It's a pretty good chance you've been investing for quite some time. Maybe like me, been dollar cost averaging over the last 3 to 4 years, or maybe you just got in the last 6 months. But wherever you're at, there's a pretty good chance that right now we're at the beginning of what could be an enormous bull run. I never got to experience the excitement from 2016 when everybody went to that halving into 2017 when everything went like this big hockey stick, like it was right here then whoosh, to the moon. I never got that because I started right here and then it went here and it went down like that. So I never got to experience 2016 into the early days of 2017. But now I think we are. I think we've gone through 2020, which was, let's be honest, the crappiest year we could possibly go through. And then now we're into 2021. I think things are going to be fireworks. That's the best I can say it. So I think hopefully this YouTube video ages well, but I want to talk to you about before you make your crypto millions. And what I did was I had a blog post, and I wrote this about 6 or 7 months ago. Actually, Digital Dave over at Crazy for Cryptos, he asked me to do like a guest blog post, and I said sure. And I wrote it for his section for his Patreon, and then much later, I put it into my website, which is danteachescrypto.com. 100% free. You should sign up. It's free. Why not? So it's got all my information I have for the basics, what to do your own research, investment advice tips, which I just say what I do. I can't give you any advice. I'm not a financial planner, obviously. But one of these things that I wrote about was before you make your crypto millions. And I know right now, a lot of you probably aren't thinking, some of you are thinking like, hey, I'm a millionaire, what do I do? But some of you haven't really even thought about that yet. Like, what happens when you don't have to show up to work? What happens when money isn't really an issue? What happens when you get to drop that second or third job and you can be at home with your kids all day long? Well, I will just tell you this. I went through all of that stuff and I talk about this in the blog post. First, I start off with, I talk about Digital Dave's advice, which is the first thing you want to do is don't go out and blow it on a bunch of stupid stuff. He says, and he's got a really good point. He goes, look, just give it like 6 months or so, and then pay for all your bills and everything else. But don't go out and buy like the most crazy nice Lambo and the mansion, because that's the kind of stuff that people do who win the lottery. When they win the lottery, guess what happens in a couple of years? They're dead broke, or they're dead, or they have some kind of craziness with their family who are suing them for all these different types of things. So don't do that. So Dave got some pretty sound advice, which is, look, just pay off your bills and then sit on it for 6 months and then kind of hide out. And then me, I kind of take it like a little bit of a step further, and I started to talk about what it would be like when you actually make enough money to where you don't have to work. Because right now, I will tell you this, and I talk about this in the blog post. It's the same thing that happened to my friends right now for coronavirus. They thought it'd be so fantastic, like, oh, Rob, you got the best life. You just get to sit at home and work from home and do what you want, whenever you want. I'm like, it sucks. It's not that great. You don't understand. And they're like, yeah, sure. So then when Corona came around and they got furloughed, at the first couple of weeks, like, this is awesome. You're a filthy liar. And I'm like, okay, just wait. And of course they waited. And then, you know, a couple of weeks later, they call me up or they text me like, man, this sucks. There's like not much to do, you know, because I already get my work done, or they're completely furloughed, so they don't really know what to do. So really it comes down to this. To pay off your bills, but you got to really start to think about right now, like, what am I going to do? And there's a good quote from Benjamin Franklin. And he says, money never made a man happy, nor will it ever. The more a man has, the more he wants. Instead of filling a vacuum, it creates one. So just remember that no amount of money will ever give you happiness. And it really comes down to what you want to do with that. Now on this channel, we talk about, you know, things, you know, that I invest in, and I don't give any advice, but, you know, there's different things that I talk about and what to do, you know, crypto loans, and we talked about that, and Amazon, and all those different things. So, but the real question then becomes, what do I do when I have all this money? So I will just tell you this. There was this great book that I read called Delivering Happiness, and it was by Tony Hsieh, and he's the founder of Zappos. Unfortunately, Tony recently passed away in a crazy fire. Very difficult to get all the right information, but the message that he had was pretty unique. I read this book, and he talks about, look, he goes, when you make a bunch of money, there's really 3 levels that you have. The first one is the rock star level, right? Rock star level is like when you can just, you know, you have a bunch of money, you can just do whatever you want to and get all your different needs and desires filled, and it's pretty great, right? And then you realize that there's only so much time you can do that before you really get burnt out. Then you have you find some kind of passion that you will lead you into the right way, and that is what Tony did. He started to do a lot of traveling, a lot of some charity work, philanthropy. Yeah, I can never say that word right. And then, of course, the last one is a higher purpose and meaning. And really, you can take a look at that. But even Alex Mashinsky had an even better saying, which went like this: someone to love, something to do, someone to look forward to. It's like the perfect phrase, right? You have someone in your life that you love. You have your wife, your spouse, your kids, and everything else. Great, and you're set. You have something to do, like this job, or like a little bit of a side hustle that you have, or a YouTube channel, something like that. And then you have something to look forward to, something that really drives you, or just something that you look forward to, like going to some place or being with someone or whatever else it is. So these are the types of things you really want to think about now, because if you don't, then you start to just get stuck in this pleasure rock star moment. And that is where, like, when everybody who comes into a lot of money, whether that be through cryptocurrency, whether that be through the lottery, whether that be through a professional athlete, and you hear about these professional athletes all the time. NFL stands for not for long. And then before you know it, they have no money and there's nothing really to do. So the first thing you want to do, of course, take care of yourself. But the second thing is, what is my bigger purpose? Because I can't just sit around on a big lump of money and do absolutely nothing. And I went through this when I stopped work. I actually had separated from my wife, and I was living in Las Vegas. Not a bad place to be when you start up your own online business, and now you don't have to work, and you have a ton of money. So what do? Anything you want to do. And like we talk about, it's pretty awesome at first, but it gets real old real fast. And then before you know it, you have to really find some kind of a passion. Now, things worked out pretty well for me, but I just encourage you to read this blog post, because it's all my mistakes and all my screw-ups and all the things that I wish someone would have told me when I came into a bunch of money. And I think that is what is about to happen with you, potentially. Who knows? I can only tell you where I think we're going. I think 2021 is going to be a pretty great year. And that is really the big thing that I wanted to get across right now. Make sure you set yourself up for later, because if you wait till you come into money, then all of a sudden you're like, what happened? What do I do now? All right, so that is the very first part. That's a kind of a lofty question. Really what I should have done was actually start with this one, because we had talked about, yesterday, we had the, let's see, my predictions. And one of the big ones that I talked about was Voyager. And I talked about how Voyager, the token and the exchange, where it was likely to go. I'm not telling you what to invest in, I'm just telling you exactly what I'm going to do. And there was one piece that I actually left out on Voyager token. And right now, when I made the video, which was yesterday, it was at 29 cents. And today it's at 45 cents. And actually I think it's going to go much, much higher. I have a prediction of, and I do conservative numbers, I swear, like I gave you a Bitcoin prediction of 150,000, Ethereum between 5 and 10,000. I don't think those are way crazy numbers, but there was one, the Voyager. I talk about exactly why this is. It was at 29 cents. I think it's going to $30. So that seems outlandish, doesn't it? Right? But if you take a look at it, first of all, the circulating supply and max supply, 222 million. It's not that much. And then if you take a look at the history, what happened here? Let's go to the max level. So the history, the Voyager token used to be up in the $12 range. Now it's at 29 cents. And when I give you the reasons, behind the CEO and what's going on, I can definitely see this. So with this type of token, this could be, one of the big ones that could drive you to that next level. So I don't know what your holds are. I don't know what you have. But again, I think with 2021, as long as we don't do something goofy like sell a little bit too early, then I think things should work out. Now, the next level I want to talk about, or things to actually be aware of, is taxes. And I know people are like, ugh, taxes, this guy and his taxes. It's just something that you have to be aware of. And this was an article that we talked about, that the IRS is transitioning from education to enforcement. And in the beginning, they were kind of lightly hands-off, and they had just the 1040 question, which was, have you purchased any virtual currency of this year? And then if you said, no, and they know you did, because, KYC and AML, they would write you a nice little letter and say, hey, Pete, guess what? I know you put no, but I think you meant to say yes, so let's rectify that. Well, now they're like, you know what? We're not going to do that anymore, and now it's going to be penalties and fines and jail times. And that is what this article talks about. So that is a bummer. And then there was a new article that just came out from cryptotrader.tax, and that 1040 form, where it used to be buried, is now in the front of the tax forms for United States citizens. And again, if you're not a United States citizen, just hold on. I'm going to talk to you if you're in South Korea and potentially in Europe in a second. So with that one, now they have changed some things and they put it front and center. And also, to make sure that you know exactly what it is, they have like a little section which really gives a definition, a very clear definition of what they consider a virtual currency. And hint, hint, it really is cryptocurrency. So they are really going to go after it this year. And I just want to make sure that you are prepared. Which leads me to my last point, which is this. Oops, not that one. This one. So first of all, I want to, I don't do many promotions on this channel. I usually just do affiliate links and that is it. But I want to say thank you to cryptotrader.tax. They are promoting this video, and this is only for United States citizens, so I say this to the last. If you are looking for a pretty good program, not a pretty good, a great program. I've been using this. This will be my second year. I used this last year. It saved me $16,000 in tax loss harvesting. It was super simple. They have an API integration into all the big exchanges and even the small exchanges. You set it up between the learning curve, which is me learning what the heck I was doing, to actually printing out the file of the form to my CPA. It was 30 minutes. That was amazing. So I just did it, click, 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 and then off it went. The accountant came back to me and says, hey, congratulations, you saved $16,000 in all these different crappy trades that you did in the beginning. That was me. So if you, well, two things. First of all, there's a link in the description where you can sign up for cryptotrader.tax. Also, right next to that link is this website where you can enter to win a free unlimited tax report. And they're giving away one free every single week. So all you gotta do is just put in your first name and email and just click on there and they'll draw it. Now, if you don't win, because hey, there's only one, just remember you get a pretty good discount just for Dan viewers. And lastly, let me say this. It's not just the United States citizens. Just so you know, the South Korean government is going to start taxing crypto in 2022. So I think this is going to be more of a thing, especially as we just saw a massive amount of money printing. So where are they going to squeeze people? Well, probably taxes. Do I think that all taxes are going to, eliminate this debt? No, but it's a great place to start for the governments, and they sure will want to do that. So just real quick, just so you know, this is what's, because South Korea was one of those places where they were like hands off and everything else. And then all of a sudden like, you know what, maybe we should do this. So legislative notice details that the amendment will be enacted in February, and profits from buying and selling cryptos in South Korea will be taxed at 20%. However, the rules is applicable only to crypto holders with annual income of over 2.5 million won. I was like, whoa, that's pretty good, 2.5 million won. You know how much 2.5 million won is in US dollars? 2,300 bucks. So everything over 2,300 bucks, 20% tax, and that is it. New rule will apply in 2022. Transactions of listed shares will also be part of the 20% tax for profits of over 50 million won annually, and that's like, I don't know, like 32,000 bucks or something like that. So if it's happening in South Korea, which was like one of the most lax countries for taxing, just get ready for wherever you are at to get the living tar taxed out of you, and that's really how it is. So if CryptoTrader.tax was in other countries, I'd recommend that to you, but they're only for the United States. And that is the big thing. Lastly, I just want to say this. That's not it. That's not it either. Where'd it go? There it is. So we just hit 90,000 subscribers. So I want to say thanks to everybody who has signed up and been a subscriber, and anybody who has actually come through and watch the channel. I really appreciate it. When we started this channel, I didn't think, it was just the thing we just talked about as far as what to do when you make all the money, you don't have to really work too much. This was kind of like me. Like my business is kind of run on autopilot. And some people say, well, that'd be fantastic. Well, it is if you're working 3 jobs and you got 20 kids howling at you. Yeah, of course. But there's the opposite side of the spectrum where you want to just think to yourself, well, what can I do to really help people to get a message out? And I think this was the best way, because financial freedom, it's not so much about happiness, but it's like giving you freedom to do whatever the hell you want, when you want, with whomever you want to, as long as they're with you on that wavelength. So it's not just about happiness. It's just about putting you into a better mindset to where you can live your really, I know it's cliche, your best life. So that is it. So thanks everybody who has signed up. I really appreciate it. And that is it for today. So thanks for listening. I know it's a little bit long, but I think in the long run, hopefully this video ages well. It will be a little bit of a better thing going forward to tomorrow, and it'll help you not make the same screwy mistakes that I made. I will link that blog post in the description, and that is it. So thanks so much, and I'll see you on the next one.